April 9, 2013, meeting to order. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Dickerson. Here. Ms. Gerber.
Here.
Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Ms. Krafka.
Here.
Mr. Thacker.
Here.
Ms. Elliott is absent.
We can all stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. We have a guest of council tonight, Patrick Maw of Midwest Utilities. Is that correct? How are you, sir?
Good.
Would you like to
Thank you.
come up and
Appreciate
address
it.
council?
Well, thank you. Well, thanks for having me. I'm Pat Maui with Midwest Utility Consultants, and what we do is rather unique. We're able to help get lower rates with the utility companies. Now, I know you've been inundated with lots of brokers and suppliers, and put that aside. What we're able to do is get lower rates on things like the delivery of your electric, or things like lower rates on the water, sewer, local phone, waste. And so we're very successful at what we do as far as getting lower utility rates. For what it's worth, it was Joyce Benjamin over at Monroe Township. She was very impressed how we were able to save them like $700 a month, being able to lower their rates. They were referred to me from New Richmond, the village of New Richmond, because we saved them over like $1,200 a month. And they were referred to me by Paul, an accountant, who has seen multiple churches where I've helped get lower utility rates. So it's essentially referrals, but since I've been around for 18 years, some of the accounts near here that I've been able to help, some of them are like Amelia Church of Christ, Amelia Church of the Nazarene, United Methodist, Amelia United Methodist Church. Old client is like West Claremont Local School District, tire discounters. So, you know, we have a presence. We've been around for quite a while. I'm just going to pass around something, and what this is just simply a list of old, or current or old clients, and there's just all the clients we've ever had, including in there is the total amount we've ever saved them. And yeah.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, because as you look at that, you'll just be able to see it's been significant. You know, we save tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, with what we're able to do to lower utility rates, I don't have one of your Duke Energy bills here, but if you look at a Duke Energy bill, and well, I'll just come around with it. There's a rate on here, and for example, this is rate DS. I just kind of keep my thumb on it. And so for every single electric account and gas account, you have a rate on there. And this is what we're able to do. Like if this is already on rate DS01, we're able to help obtain lower rates, again, on the delivery side of the bill. So to look at a Duke Energy bill, this is Duke Energy's DS rate. Now, there's only 3 pages to it, but there's all these riders, plus the riders up here. But if you print out all these riders, this is everything that goes into a Duke electric bill. But the question comes, how are we able to get lower rates? What we're able to do is, this is Duke's index to their different tariffs. They've got 5 different pages of rates and riders. Down here in yellow, that's that DS rate sheet 40. You can print it for me, rate DS. So, but there's 5 pages of different rates and riders. So our job is to, if you allow us to do this for the village, to go and look at each individual meter, of every single electric meter, gas meter, phone line, every single item, and each individually is that one item on the very lowest rate possible. Because, as I mentioned there, on that electric rate, you know, the rate is only 3 pages, but with all the riders, there's so much into it. Just like this. This is everything that goes into your typical electric bill. It's much larger than what Duke shows you on page 2. On page 2, it's really small. This is really the detail that really goes into an electric bill. And this is what we're able to do. We're able to calculate to see if it's billing incorrectly or to see if there's a lower rate available. And that's what we're able to provide. So we're able to do this on not only on the electric and gas, but we can do it on local phone, long distance, internet service provider, web hosting, waste, burn and fire, all the utilities. So we work on a performance basis. So that means that, one, if we don't find any savings, there's no cost or obligation. If you decide not to implement our suggestions, and they're just that, suggestions, there's no cost or obligation. And only those items you do decide to implement, we simply share that savings 50-50 for 48 months. After the 4 years, you're keeping 100%. So because we're performance-based and we don't have any retainer or any upfront fee, you're ahead every step of the way. You know, there's no cost for us to do this analysis. The analysis is going to take every bit of 2 months, maybe creeping into 3, unfortunately. But we're not in a hurry to get the job done because we're not getting paid to do the work. We only get paid if we find good savings for you and if you decide to implement it. So we're going to be very thorough on what we can find as far as lower utility rates.
Anyone have any questions?
Do you do an initial audit?
Yes, that's what it takes. It takes like 2 months for us to do the initial audit. So with a signed agreement, a signed letter of authorization, just so we can talk to utility companies, and just one copy of each bill of gas, electric, water, sewer, local fund, and waste, with just one copy, we're able to get the billing histories, like a 2-year billing history from Duke Energy, on phone lines. Just like, I'm trying to think of examples around here. For New Richmond Local School District, there was a meter I couldn't find. It turned out that meter was buried out in the woods over by, what's our golf course over there?
Royal Oak, yeah, Royal
No.
Oak. Legendary Run?
Legendary Run. And, but I was out there trucking through the woods, I found it. It turned out that it was Legendary Run that was supposed to be paying for that. Later on, I was talking to Legendary Run because someone else in the country club referred me to them, and they said, well, I talked to the Duke Energy rep about you, and they said that you cannot get any lower rates than what I currently have. And I said, well, I don't have any cost or upfront fee, so why don't you just let me waste my time and see what comes of it. Legendary Run has been my client for probably like 10 years. So, and we've done some pretty neat and amazing things for them too.
Yeah, it looks like you have Village of Batavia and
And that was a long time ago that I had
Is
to
it?
say. Yeah, very long time ago.
Was that mostly electric savings? Or?
Oh gosh, that was such a long time ago. I've been in business for 18 years, and the way we work is we only share savings for 48 months for 4 years. So some people decided to do it for a short period of time. Other clients, like Amelia Church of the Nazarene and Amelia United Methodist Church, have been with me for my 18 years. So some have been with me for a long time and others have not. But then on the other hand is Batavia Local School District. Now the treasurer there used to be the treasurer over at Georgetown. And so when he moved from Georgetown over here to Batavia, he called me up and said, Pat, can you help me here? And let's see how much I've saved Batavia. We saved them like $196,000. So, yeah. So we have it. Well, let's hear it. Since we're also trying to talk close, Williamsburg Local School District, we've saved them over $281,000. So we are successful at finding lower utility rates. As far as I know, there's no one else that does what we do. No one that looks under a rock to try to make sure you're on the lowest rate possible. Lots of brokers out there, lots of suppliers. You get hit up 3 times a day and it gets exhausting. But no one's able to help with the other aspect of utilities.
All right, any other questions?
That's all I have initially.
if I can just mention something real fast,
Sure.
because this is a question that kind of comes up, is how do we know how much we're saving? What we do is we do verifiable price savings. If we're not able to prove it, we're not entitled to it. And we have that written right into the agreement. Matter of fact, we're going to say that our calculations are going to be within 2 cents. If we're 3 cents off, we're not entitled to shared savings. Of my 18 years, there's never been one time that I've ever been off like that. So what we're able to do is take the information right off of the Duke bill. The data is prepared from 2 meter readates, kilowatt hours actual bill, and plug that into here. And if I get you a new lower rate, I don't have to prove the new lower rate because you're still going to get a bill from Duke saying amount due. What we have to do is recalculate that at the old rate to show you that that's true. And the way we're able to prove that is once you have, I'm going to send this to you, a sheet proving the savings on every single electric and gas meter that you allow me to get you a lower rate. With that, if you ever want to prove it, I can just come in with my laptop, open up my laptop, bring someone else's Duke bill with the same billing end month, and pull that up in Excel, plug someone else's KWH and KW numbers in there. If I'm not within 2 cents, I violated the agreement. So, and I know you don't know me, my closing statements are, because I know how long mine gets. Google's a good thing. We've been around for 18 years, and as you look on these sheets, you can see we've saved people a substantial amount of money. And I've got 18 years, I've got a track history. So if you go out to Google, you'll find that no one's ever sued us, no one's ever asked to sue us. We've never sued anybody, we've never asked to sue anybody. You go over to the Better Business Bureau, and not a single blemish. And after you see accounts like that and the volume that's been on there, I think that kind of says something. So I'm going to leave this packet with you if you don't mind. Let me grab this little item and the other one.
Thank you, sir.
And I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on. We have the regular meeting minutes for March 26, 2013. Thank you, sir. Everybody's had a chance to read over there. I entertain a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
I have a motion. I have a second. Any discussion over the minutes?
Today. Oh, all right.
Hearing none, Kevin, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dickerson?
Yay.
Mrs. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Campbell?
Abstain.
Ms. Krafka?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yay.
Ms. Elliott is absent. You have
You
a
did.
4-0 effective vote, so it passes.
Next order of business are the bills. Everyone has a copy of the bills in front of them, correct? If everyone is comfortable with that, I entertain a motion to pay the bills. I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Dickerson?
Yep.
Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Campbell?
Yay.
Ms. Krafka?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yay.
Mrs. Elliott is absent. 5-1 passes.
All righty, thank you, sir. We'll skip over the committee reports. We have no legislation. I do have a few things on my agenda tonight. First thing, you have a letter of resignation dated March 26, 2013, from Mr. Ricky Rowland, Supervisor of Public Works Department. Hereby submit this letter of resignation to take effect April 19, 2013. I talked to Ricky. He said he's been up to Oprah's and he's going to retire. So with that, I would need a motion to accept Ricky's resignation.
Make the motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Kevin, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 5-0, one absent.
Second thing I have is we are getting ready to start our Home Depot project at the cemetery. So I talked with Mr. Hatton from Hatton Fence Company to see if he could possibly go ahead and give us a price on putting a gate in. It'll be on the east side down Woodside Park Drive.
I think so.
It'd be 2 5-foot, both would open, but mainly we would have 2 in case we ever had to get any kind of a mower or equipment in there. Normally it'd be for a walking gate to walk into the cemetery. So actually what I'm looking for from council is, we came back with an estimate of $580 to install that fence. So if council would like to move forward with that, I'd entertain a motion.
From the cemetery fund?
Correct.
Well, we don't have a path on that side yet, though, right?
Not yet. Nope.
And we want to do it before we have a path, or have it set up because?
We'd probably be doing the path probably within the next week. The 18th is the event for Home Depot, where we're going to have about 100 to 150 people coming and going out of that cemetery. So hopefully by then we'll have that part done. So even if he puts the gate in and we don't get to that immediately, we can always come back to putting that walkway into there. But if we don't do it soon, the weather's not gonna, he's not gonna be able to set them posts and do that fence.
Now, do we have permission and everything to put the path in, or no?
It is our fence. We have permission to do anything we want to the fence. I'm still talking to the homeowners association. Yep. So whatever you guys want to do with that.
Make a motion to get the fence or gate.
I have a motion for the gate.
Second.
I have a second. Any other discussion on putting the gate in the fence?
Do you think they'll have a problem with it if we do it before we even ask them? If we ask them at least?
It's our fence to do what we want with. We have an easement through there, so the sidewalk is not ours, but we have probably about a 2-foot easement outside that fence. So we can do anything we want to that fence. That fence is village property.
Okay, it's fine. Just want to make sure we can get it. I hate to buy a gate and not be able to get it, you know?
No, it's our property. Any other discussion? If not, Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yeah.
Ms. Elliott is absent, 5-0, passes.
The last thing I have is we need to do an adjustment to our current manual on comp time. I had Julia look into that for us. There's some options you can do. It varies from Bethel to Cincinnati to Circleville on what you'd like to do with those options. And of course, then the third option is we can take comp time out if you so choose. So it is a benefit.
Could we get a report showing how it's been used currently and how it's been handled and cashing it back in? So basically like a spreadsheet showing an example, you know, if they worked these hours and then they got this much comp time, and then when they turned it in, how they were paid, to see how
I
the
can
flow
do
is
that.
of that.
The way it's being done now, if you work comp time, that comp time is put into a comp time bank. So if you work 40 hours, say you work 44 hours, and you decide to comp that overtime, there would be 6 hours put into your comp bank because it's time and a half because you worked overtime. When comp time is paid out, it is paid out as straight pay, hour for hour. So it's another means of having basically a bank for vacation to use whenever you so choose to use.
So how does it benefit, I guess, either or party to have comp time?
It benefits the person using it. If they don't, if you work for somewhere that doesn't have a lot of vacation, sick days, personal days, it would benefit them. Otherwise, it's kind of a wash as far as money goes. Because you're going to pay time and a half one way. They're either going to get it in money or they're going to get it in time.
The only advantageous thing is if you have a lot of overtime in one pay period, say, you had a couple big snowstorms or something, instead of having to pay that out as overtime, if it's given as comp time, then it's just paid when that person takes the comp time versus having it all be paid in the same pay period.
So basically, you're deferring those costs
Right.
to another.
To whenever the employee would choose to take the time.
But it's a budgetary, again, it's a wash. But
Yeah, I mean, over the time, it's gonna even out.
so usually if you're in a small staff of people, a lot of companies don't have it because they've got vacation, they've got sick time. If you could build up enough comp time, if you only had a handful of employees, you could always have employees taking Fridays and Mondays off and never have people there to work. So.
Can I put some input in on this?
Sure.
When we went to 84-hour weeks, we work 12-hour days now. So our vacation time, right now, most of us have been here over the time where we get about 120 hours, the three of us. And our time off went from 40 hours, so we would be able to take 3 weeks vacation, down to 10 days vacation a year. So that comp time does help us to have it banked for time off. This is a stressful field, so it's very hard to only have 10 days off throughout the whole year. You never know what you're gonna come up against in our job. And you may have to take a couple days just for personal days.
We do have personal days.
Well, actually, we get 16 hours, which,
2 days.
no, well, it says 2 days in the manual, but we've been given 16 hours. We work
Okay.
12-hour days, we should have 24 hours. So it's not even, it's
I
a
mean,
day
if
and a
it's
half.
stressful, we could move the shifts back to 8 hours. I mean,
No,
12
I'm not
hours
saying
don't
that.
work. We could
Our
obviously
job,
just move it back to 8 hours.
our job is stressful.
Okay.
This is a stressful job. This is a very high-energy job.
Correct.
To where certain things could occur that on the job that you may have to take an extra day. You've planned a vacation.
So I guess the 12 hours versus the 8 hours isn't stressful to work 12 versus 8.
No, that's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making, I may have a vacation scheduled for the time that I've been given, the 10 days in my vacation time. But we've had a lot of deaths here in the village, and this just is one example. We have to deal with that scene. We have to break it to the families. There's a lot of emotions that go on with that. You may need to take a day off the next day.
Okay.
Or
There
it
are
may affect
options. I
you.
mean, council can choose to do any of these other options. So, I mean, it's open.
I just wanted to put that out there because it is beneficial to us workers. Since we have gone from having 3 weeks, which I can speak for myself. I've been here, I'm in my 13th year. I went from having 3 weeks down to 10 days. So it is beneficial to have it. And if there's times when we have a lot of overtime, if there's a lot of late calls and we have to work overtime, it is nice to be able to bank some of that versus getting killed in taxes too. And it doesn't break the bank for the village at the same time.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
So,
Well, one thing she said, you went from 3 weeks to 10 days. It's the same number of hours. It's just since you're on 12-hour shifts now, the way you're applying it, it comes out as 10 days. Is that what you're saying?
If I went to use 120 hours, that's 10 days. So I could take 10 days.
At 12-hour shifts.
That is correct.
But if it went back to 8-hour shifts, you would go back to, that would technically be your 15 days, correct?
That is correct.
Well, I think it's something we need to look at, research, and come back to.
Is that what you guys want to do?
I did have one question about it real quick. So using your example, I work 44 hours first week, take 6 hours of comp time.
You'll take, you had 4 hours overtime. That qualifies you 6 hours of comp time.
Okay.
And you
Good.
only get paid back out at straight pay.
Okay, so when the next week, that's gonna be my question, next week, can I turn it in and take 10 hours overtime if I work 44 hours again?
No.
No, so it's just straight, I would turn it in next week if I work 44 hours, turn in all 6 the next week, I would just get paid for 4 hours overtime and then 46 hours straight time.
No.
This is in lieu of overtime.
In lieu of overtime.
Right.
So
But
then
they work 44 hours. Okay, you have a vacation bank, like she said, with those days.
Okay.
Now you have a comp bank, and those days are there. So it's a wash either way.
So if I use it, then I
It's just
can
a,
qualify.
it would be, like it's, again, I said, when you only have a handful of employees, then it comes the issue of how much time employees take off. And when they do, then you have to replace that employee, pay somebody overtime to come in and cover that shift.
I guess what I'm trying to figure out is how does it work with, and I guess there is no answer to it because we don't have a way, it's not defined how it works with overtime.
I'm trying to follow what you're saying here.
Okay.
You're banking hours instead of
I-
banking money.
I work, for example, I work 44 hours and do 6 hours comp time. I want to use that comp time next week. How do I do that? I guess
You'd
that's
have to
my
put a
question.
request in to David. David would have to approve you to take that time off.
Okay, and I take that in lieu of actually coming into work.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Like you
Okay.
would, like you
It's
would
just like a
vacation.
Vacation, so I can't just tack it on to the end of the week
No,
and
you
say, now I'm
can't
going to use my
add,
thing.
no, you
Okay.
can't,
So
you
it's just
can't
in lieu
put
of.
yourself in an overtime
Okay.
status with it. Well, that's what the question is though, actually. Do you want comp time, do you use comp time to count towards earning comp time? Do you want holiday to count towards earning comp time? Do you want vacation? And that's kind of what that summary I did was, of what places allow you to use vacation and holiday hours that you earn during that pay week towards your overtime status to earn comp time.
Like a holiday, if they want to use, say, well, I want to use my comp time on a holiday to get overtime. You can't do
No,
that.
I think it's, to get your 40 hours, say it's a Monday holiday, so you get 8 hours. And then you work another 44 hours on top of that. So you've got now 8 plus 44 is 52. So you've got 12 hours of comp time, or possible comp time. The question is, do you want to allow them to use that 8 hours of holiday towards that comp time, meeting the minimum 40 hours to earn comp time?
Okay.
As if they'd worked.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to allow them to count those holiday vacation days as if they've worked? Or the city of Cincinnati's policy is strictly, you have to work the 40 hours and then you're eligible for comp time. That's the most strenuous I've seen. The majority of places allow the employees to apply vacation and holiday towards that total 40.
So then the comp time would then be overtime in that situation?
What do you mean by that?
When you're applying holiday into that?
Right, you wouldn't have to work as many hours because you'll get to that 40 with your holiday pay.
So you're
So any hours
32 hours.
Right, any hours you worked over 32 would then be eligible for the comp time.
Okay.
Just Monday holiday example.
Is there a limit on how much comp time they can
There
make right
is.
now?
We put 80 hours correct right now, which is really
I-
high if you
I
look at
believe
other
that's-
entities.
I believe that's correct, that is 80 hours, but we can verify.
Bethel has 40 hours, or no, I can't remember what Bethel's was now. It was 24, was it not?
Sounds about
Bethel
right.
shows 40 hours.
Do they? Well, if you're reading this, that's something different.
Yeah, that is.
Okay, that's what I was reading, so
No.
I'm thinking
this is
Yeah.
not that?
No,
Okay.
The work week.
I was thinking they had 24, but that could be wrong.
So I know I should know the answer to this. I don't like to normally ask a question I already know the answer to.
I mean, it's a wash either way.
But, right, but, right now vacation isn't done by, years of service. So if you do, like your first 3 years, you get a week. If you go over 4 years, you get 2 weeks. If you're over 5 years or 7 years, you get, you know what it's just straight, everybody gets the same amount?
No. It goes by your time here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like the big drawback to the village with the comp time is since we have a small number of employees, that we end up understaffed when we have people using a lot of comp time. Is that correct?
We end up paying overtime for somebody to come in and cover the shifts.
We should probably simmer on it a little bit longer and look into it further.
That's fine by me, whatever you guys want to do.
I'd like to hear from Chief, since he's been here, what the issues, or if there has been any issues with,
I talked
people,
to Chief
you know what I
and he
mean?
told
Two
me.
people doing it at the same time, or
Right.
how, but if you have a situation like Janice said, where, if you go to a horrific crime scene, you need a minute to adjust, how does that play in? And the other thing is then, like she said, if you comp your time and you want to take a 2-week vacation, that's a long enough notice. I think somewhere in those two are a happy medium. And
Yeah,
I don't
I mean,
have the answers to.
Like I said, I talked to David, to him, it's a wash either way. Didn't say one way or the other. So. But if you guys want to look into it, we can do that. I mean, it doesn't matter to me.
What kind of additional information do you guys need?
Well, we'd like to look at the overall scheme of things, such as going from 12 hours to 8-hour shifts. If our part-timers have come along enough, or if we need to hire more part-timers in order to do that. That way, gets them back to 3 weeks instead of the 10 days. So take a look at that option. I don't know where our part-timers are right now.
Yeah, that's what I said. I think somewhere
There's a couple little things you
in
have to
there
look
we
at.
can, we can compromise and work on, to where everybody is happy. I mean, I do agree to the fact that, if you add that on and like I just think, we need to read over the policy manual. Maybe we can come up with a couple ideas. I mean, it's just a thought.
Maybe an increase in personal days, because currently it's 2 or 16 hours, right?
And personal day, those are all paid time offs, correct?
Maybe look into setting a limit for comp time, lower or not?
We do have one right now. I think it's 80 hours.
That's quite, you said,
That's
large limit, so,
2 weeks.
yeah, so.
I would like to know if it's causing problems, like if we've been short-staffed at all, or if that's really caused any problems.
I have to ask David.
That's my biggest question, is how much trouble is it really causing right now? Because it doesn't seem like a bad thing to be able to spread the overtime out a little bit.
But it looks like when it happens, though, you're triggering overtime with somebody else
Yeah.
who may or may not put in for
That's what's happening right now because we don't have enough officers on because we're short-staffed. Did you ever find out what Bethel does as far as how many hours they carry on the books, comp
I
time?
will find that for you momentarily.
I like 24 seems like a decent number. Rounds into 8 and 12 pretty well.
Pierce Township carries 300.
I mean, it looks pretty much, most standard vacation and holiday count towards the 40 hours worked and sick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's pretty standard policy.
What's the thought on, since obviously this is an issue with the police department, maybe looking into auxiliaries so we don't become short-staffed, so that they have time to take off or grieving or just personal time, vacation time, and using auxiliaries to fill in.
I think it's gonna get better once our part-timers are on this
Say,
road by themselves too.
it's all a lot of good planning, but it's all way down the road, and we need to make some adjustments fairly soon.
Bethel's is 24.
It's 24 in Bethel. I thought theirs was.
The comp is 24?
Yeah,
Maximum
they can only
effort.
carry up to 24 hours max.
They
So-
can use them and then build them right back up.
Yeah, you can use them and keep building them up,
Right, you can,
24.
you know, if you use 4, you can earn more.
but you can't build up 2 or
Right,
3
but-
weeks and take 2 weeks off.
Right, and if they're over their limit, the village will pay them the overtime benefit.
Chris brought up auxiliaries, and I've been going to the Claremont County Mayor's Association meetings, and that's been a topic of discussion, is auxiliaries. And just about all of them use them, and they have some highly skilled ones as well, so that might be an option to look at. I believe it's Williamsburg that has a couple of retired sheriffs,
They do.
detectives,
Yep.
that provide some auxiliary work for them, so.
They work really, really expensive.
And that's something to look at for sure, you know, just to see who's out there and would be interested.
Maybe pricing on that would be really helpful then too. Because we don't want to stress too much, I mean, that's the last thing we want to start.
Okay.
So I mean,
Yeah,
we're
stressing on
looking,
something else.
you know, I don't know how much you want
Well, it's kind of all
I know.
intertwined here all of a sudden, you know, so.
to, so you want to make no decision on this? Our policy manual needs to be upgraded a little bit to read a little bit better than how it reads right
Oh,
now.
I think we need to work on it and, you know, try and clear it up for the next meeting.
So if we had auxiliaries, would the comp time,
They get no benefits whatsoever.
well, I understand that, but I'm saying for our full-time officers, would the comp time week be so much an issue, since it's obviously a matter of being understaffed when someone is taking 10 days or 3 weeks of vacation at one time? If there's auxiliaries to take their place, then we wouldn't be short-staffed.
We're not allowed to take that much time off at one time.
No, I'm just using it as an example, 10 days or whatever it may be. The main thing is that we have somebody to fill in their place until
Yeah,
they're
see,
back.
and that's what, like Janice said, they're not allowed to take that much time off. Well, that's why I'd like David to be here so we can present those issues. Because if, this person can't go when this person goes and
He's going to boil down to one thing, he needs more people.
well, we always need more people. I mean, that's,
When they get out on the road, that's gonna help us a lot.
yeah, I do think, because that gives us 2 more. And, I know we still,
Well, we had talked about 2 additional after these 2.
right, and we are also talking to make another full-time as well. I mean, we all want to do a lot of things, but, I just think,
Okay.
like you said, it all falls in line. Each question gives you another question.
Sounds like we've got a lot to think about. A whole lot of other
That's what I did
issues,
first.
just not related.
Thought this was gonna be something simple.
All right, well, we will come by, we'll see what I can get together for the next meeting and bring it forward and see what you guys want to do. The only other things I've got is April 18th, preparation of the Oddfellows Cemetery for the Veterans Memorial. We met with Home Depot today. I think they had about 20 representatives there, probably. We're set for the 18th of April. The actual kickoff is 8 o'clock. We will be there at 6 a.m.
8 until when?
8 to 3.
8 to 3.
I thought they were saying 5.
Yeah, they did.
Did they say 5?
They told me it would be till 4, and they want to be cleaned up by 5.
Okay.
Let's see, there'll be a waiver required
Yeah.
of anybody who comes to work and participate.
If you want to
So-
come, what about parking?
You'd be, if you want to come, if you guys are coming here from council, try to carpool it down, because there are going to be about 50 cars already we have to park down there. So
Okay.
try to do it that way, or let me know. We'll be going back and forth.
So what is the game plan for the cleanup?
For the park, for the cemetery,
Yeah.
huge. I mean, I don't know how much time you got to go into this, but probably
They've got it all.
huge.
They've got it all. They've got it all mapped. They've got. They've taken the map of the cemetery and gridded it off into 12 grids. They have 12 captains that's in charge of each one of those grids. I mean, they've got it.
Each one of those captains will probably have 10 people.
Yeah.
Is
They'll-
it strictly cleaning or is it
They'll be
repairs?
straightening,
Repairs.
they'll be repairing, they'll be cutting some trees, they'll be cutting some stuff off the fence rows. It'll be a major makeover of everything we need to do to get in preparation for the Veterans Memorial. They're gonna be putting some dirt in one end, they're gonna be moving gravel, it's a lot.
Do you know the timeline after the 18th at all? About what they might be doing after?
No, well,
Not yet.
then we'll meet again, because we're still gonna have to eventually, we've got to take that vault down, and we've got some other trees that have to come down, so it'll be an ongoing project, probably every couple months, we'll be doing something in preparation for the memorial. Once we get to the point of that, and we apply for the grant through Home Depot, then we'll know a little bit more.
Great. Thanks.
Still hoping by either Memorial or Veterans Day we'll have some kind of mock drawing and official groundbreaking at some point. We'll be on. I don't know if we'll make it to Memorial Day, but hopefully.
We'll see as it goes
Yeah.
on. April 20th, Clean and Green, Grove Park, 9 o'clock. Please come to that. Plenty of parking at Grove Park. We always have plenty of parking for the Clean and Green, don't we, Julie? Everyone is definitely invited to come. I'll be doing the hot dogs. I've already said I would bring the soda pop, so I'm committed to it. Julie's bringing the water, so we'll be good for that. June 1st is the Health Walk, Spencer Shank Park, and I believe that's at 8. Is it not? Registration 7?
7:30.
7:30?
Yep, 7:30.
And 8 o'clock.
Yep.
So that, I think that's all the information I have. Do we have any public input tonight?
I know most of you know me, but I'll give it again. I'm Tom Burnett. I live at 19 Woodside Park Drive in subdivision Woodside Park. And I am here for the 6th year complaining about the same mess that the builders in my neighborhood have made. Their latest mess was Monday morning. We came home about 10 o'clock in the morning, and at 10:30 a truck from Boxer up the road drove in with a bulldozer front loader. The house site was not prepared right. They did not put any stones down so that they wouldn't make a muddy mess. Pulled into the thing, dragged the mud clear down the street. They messed up 3 streets in one shot. I hollered at the one guy that was driving the truck, but that was of no consequence. They could care less. So, trying to figure out what you can do. Do you have or do we need an ordinance that makes builders clean up the streets, even though they're not dedicated yet. And also this, yesterday and today, the bulldozer was digging out a basement, which is a usual thing. But they bring in a big Oxford truck, one of these large dump trucks with all the wheels. They dig it out, they haul it down past our house, go down towards the condos and dump it, and there was another bulldozer spreading it out. But that truck went by there in the last 2 days, maybe 70 or 80 times. They do not put their wheels down, so it's very hard on those streets. You can tell the streets are deteriorating. The patch in front of our driveway has a big crack, goes across the road. You can see the damage in the last 2 days that crack's getting bigger and bigger. When they drop the mud and dirt on the road, it's not so much the mud itself, but for some reason, the dirt in our subdivision, or maybe that's all over Amelia, is loaded with little rocks. You know, it's almost like a gravel. So when the mud dries up, and you can hear when the cars go by, ting, 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 ting. You know, there's hundreds of rocks put on the road. One of their projects down on, let's see what street we got here. On Parkwood, they did try to clean up a few things there. In other words, I've seen their street sweepers on a couple of occasions. I believe they're on Saturday. But they never clean up everything. The curbs are all still full of rocks. They'll be working on the house, so wherever the vehicles, the trucks are parked, and they're usually parked right over the mess, they can't clean that up. And we had received a memo, which my brother has a copy of, 2 years ago from Dries. Oh, they would clean up once a week. If they made a big mess, they would clean it up that same day. They have never cleaned it up the same day. Never. Now, Fisher's building houses now, they don't make as much of a mess. They're farther down the street. But these two companies, they get money from this village. They make money off this village. And as far as I can see, they give nothing in return to the village, to Claremont County, to anything. So, and also if there was another entrance to the subdivision, which I asked Derek about, he was checking into that for me, and they wouldn't have messed up as many streets, but since they have to go in and out of Woodside Park Drive all the time, they just drag the mess. In fact, it's clear out to the Grove Park. So hopefully something can be done about it. Maybe there is an ordinance in Amelia that covers that.
In other words, if Danny yet about it?
Pardon?
Have you talked to Danny, our zoning person, yet?
No, not about that. I didn't know she would have anything to do with it.
She would.
Okay.
And who's the contractor back there right now? Is it Fisher Homes?
The ones making the big mess is Dries. Like Fisher is down on, anyway, they're building it on a separate street down there. And they're not making as much mess because the two houses they've been building have no basement. So you don't have all that, digging and moving. Because that's the strange thing about Dries. Instead of putting the dirt somewhere on the lot, and the lots are big enough, they haul it down to someplace else. Then when the house is done, the trucks just come back and do the same thing in reverse. Because they're getting, Dries is, one house is almost complete, and they've been dozing some trees down at the end of the, I think that's Parkwood, that to start another house. So that'll be another round. I'm surprised nobody comes up here and complains, but these days people are kind of complacent. But I'm sure if I came over to any one of your houses and dumped a big load of rocks and dirt, you wouldn't like it. But then it doesn't seem to matter. Also brought this up too, since you have a new member of council that may not be familiar with this problem. So that's all.
All righty, I will definitely get with Danny tomorrow and make her aware of this, and we'll see if we can.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Tom, I
Yes.
just wanted to know about the stop signs.
Oh, yes. Now, I know, I guess the stop signs or the regular rules of law do not apply in that neighborhood, unless you kill somebody or run over somebody. But their trucks, none of the contractors ever stop. I mean, I've got a video showing every time they sail through the stop sign, and there's a lot of traffic. There is a lot of traffic in Woodside Park, especially at the bewitching hour at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, coming home and in the morning, since this truck has been going And like I said, they don't drop their wheels, so it's putting a big strain on those streets. And you never hear anything about when they're ever gonna pave them. The only thing you ever hear is about when the subdivision is complete. Well, at this rate, it'll never be complete, especially when they're holding back lots where you can't build nothing on. So, that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir.
I have been back there and seen the mess, and if it was my neighborhood, I'd be very angry too. If somebody came through there, resident or other, and made a mess in the street and didn't clean it up. In my opinion, is they should be held accountable, and it should be cleaned up daily. If they're gonna make a mess like that in a neighborhood that people are living in, why should the people have to deal with the dust once it's dry, the mud when it rains, and then the gravel which gets stuck in your tires and ends up chipping up your car or someone else's car? If they can make the mess, they can clean it up.
Amen.
I will get with Danny and see what we can do about that.
Is there anything you can put in the zoning code about that? Even though
We have some things in the zoning now, so I'm sure she'll address that. We went through this before. We had to go down there and, and once we get a hold of the right people and the right contacts, they start cleaning it. So that's what we'll do again.
And once a week isn't enough though, if they're making that big a mess. Especially after it rain, they're gonna track them everywhere. It's just one of those things that's gonna have to be strictly enforced.
I will get on that for you guys.
Can I add one other thing? I don't think Dries or Fisher probably ever mentions to their contractors or subcontractors not to make a mess. You know,
Well, it's
if
not
you
a
weren't told to
concern
do
for
something,
them.
you wouldn't do it.
Well, they can't help from making the mess, it's cleaning up after
Yeah,
themselves, that's the problem.
Yeah, the mess is inevitable, it's gonna happen.
Right.
But they can at least make an effort to clean it up.
It only takes a few push brooms, but that's one vehicle they do not know how to operate. They can operate a bobcat, a bulldozer, a backhoe, a push broom, and a shovel.
Well, that's manual labor there.
Yeah.
All right. Any other public input? Just, if anybody else had any public input, council input.
Just a question, has council had an opportunity to look at the GPS information that I provided at the next meeting, and any questions or thoughts?
I did talk to David on those. He had a couple questions he would like to run by, but he couldn't make it tonight. So if the council wishes to discuss it, or do what they wish to do with it, he would like to have a chance to
We'll wait until he's here.
have a
I'd
couple
like to hear
comments
what
on
he has to say.
Okay. Any other council input? Anything I missed?
Yeah, I got a couple. First, want to thank everybody who came out for the Easter egg hunt. We probably had a lot. I'd say conservatively 350, 500 kids and parents there. Want to thank the council members, Derek and Katie, who Katie's not on rec anymore, that came out, and then our rec, which is Susan, Chris is, and also Chris, and then Stacy and Jay. It was a good time. And are we gonna get pictures?
If I get my camera case back.
I have it in my car.
Fair trade.
Yeah. They would be on Facebook.
All right. So I want to thank everybody. I think it went well. We'll leave it at that. The second thing I wanted to bring up, those who know me know that I'm really involved with the Yellow Ribbon Support Center and Mr. Moppin. I hold the Matt Moppin baseball tournament every year. We're going into our, 7th year for that. And I just want to make it known that 9 years ago today, Matt was captured. So I try not to make it always just about Matt, because Matt's the face. And, take time out to thank a veteran and remember those who gave their ultimate sacrifice for us and our freedom. So, that's what I got.
Right.
Hoorah.
Any other council business? If not, our next council meeting will be Tuesday, April 23rd at 7 p.m. here at the Municipal Building. And with that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
These days I am exposed.